I like to define grief kind of as your soul being sick, to be quite honest. It's your soul in a place that is feeling isolated, separated, feeling detached in terms of your regular healthy self. And I've also learned that it takes time to reconstruct your world. And when you lose somebody who is that close to you, you have a worldview, you have a world vision. It takes time to go through the process and then to have the courage to live forward. Don't be afraid to laugh. If something is humorous, something makes you smile, don't say, well, I'm grieving, so I can't laugh. I can't enjoy this moment. You can be in the moment. You can enjoy it. Your presence is healing. Yes, to be that support person. And what it does say to all of us, and I want to say this to anyone who may be going through any type of grief, is you are not alone. And instead of fighting the waves, you have to learn to ride the waves. There'll be some ups, some downs. And in time, the healing will take place.
As many of you guys know that when I went through that whole cancer experience, one of the things that I had was incontinence. And that was really challenging. And I know some people would find that embarrassing. But the fact of the matter is, 1 in 4 men over 40 experience bladder leakage. Now, I wish I had known about this product, TENA, when I was going through my whole incontinence experience, because it's super absorbent, it has odor control, and more importantly, it was engineered for the male body. So if you're struggling with this, there's no need to be embarrassed, there's no need to be ashamed. TENA got you. A product that will provide you with the security, confidence, and comfort you need to do what you have to do.
Welcome to the Good Living Now podcast, where we talk to real people about real change leading to real health. I'm your host, Harold LaFall. Well, the holiday seasons are upon us. And for some people, this is not a time of joy and festivities. For some people, it's a really tough time. Those who are dealing with loss and grief. And this is going to be a really important conversation for those that are dealing with that and those of us who love folks that might be going through some challenges. Well, today, to help us navigate through this conversation is our friend, Reverend Dr. Kimbrough. Dr. Kimbrough, how are you?
I am doing wonderful, Harold. Thank you for the kind invitation to be with you this afternoon.
Well, man, when I was thinking about having this conversation, you were the first person that came to mind, because I remember having you on the show previously talking about your book, Love Beyond Loss, where you talked about your own journey in dealing with loss and grief from the loss of your beloved wife.
Yes.
So I was like, oh gosh, I need to have the Reverend come on to kind of help us, number one, kind of unpack what grief is, because I think sometimes we talk about it, but we really don't know what that is. And I think sometimes people are going through it and don't even realize it. I know for me, after my mom passed, I knew I wasn't the same, but I didn't call it grief. I didn't realize I didn't realize how it affected me. So
Yes.
I think if we could start there, like, what is grief?
I like to define grief kind of as your soul being sick, to be quite honest. It's your soul in a place that is feeling isolated, separated, feeling detached in terms of your regular healthy self. And of course, when you're grieving, the natural instinct is you shut down, you internalize things, you withdraw, you're trying to wonder what the world looks like now. Some of the signs of grief, of course, is withdrawing from friends, from family, not wanting to engage socially, just feeling lethargic, low energy. Many times people don't know they're grieving, to be quite honest. And sometimes their family doesn't realize it. And you have to keep an eye on people, particularly during this season. And some of the signs, of course, are the desire to not want to be around others, to be disconnected, to be isolated. Many of those things, sometimes a loss of appetite, many of those things are signs of grief.
And why do the holiday seasons seem to exacerbate those
Mhm.
feelings?
Mhm. Well, the holiday seasons, as you know, are normally a time where everything is, it's like a big light shining on everything. Everything
Mhm.
is escalated in terms of encounters, gatherings with workers, families at the job. And then we're inundated, of course, with all this information. It should be a cheerful time. It's supposed to be a time of celebration. But what we have to remember is that these holidays also are some of the most emotionally impact times of our lives. Some of the best times of our lives, sharing Thanksgiving dinners with families, Christmas with the people we love. And so it's amplified. Oftentimes people retreat from their natural community. I know I have many people at church who find it very difficult to even go to church
Mhm.
because they're remembering mama, they're remembering a spouse, a child even who's lost on this season. And it's like a big light is shining on everything and everything is hype.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
What should people be doing who may be experiencing grief? Like Thanksgiving is coming up and Christmas. Like,
Mhm.
what are some things they might be able to do to kind of help lift them? You
Mhm.
know.
Sure. First of all, I would say give yourself permission to be your authentic self and not who you believe that someone says you should be.
Mm,
Give yourself permission and space and know that grief comes in waves. So a holiday song, a certain dish that mama would make at Thanksgiving, perhaps what you could do to honor that memory is let me make that dish. Let's sing that song together as a family. You know, in African tradition, they would put a plate out for the ancestors who had
mm,
gone on. You know, small tokens, gather families together, light a candle to remember. Don't bury it. Don't ignore it. Recognize those feelings, express them,
mhm.
talk about them. It's a way of healing. It's okay to say, I miss mama. I
Yeah.
miss so and so. Some families still leave an empty chair as a
Mhm.
way of remembering. Make a family recipe, a favorite recipe. And of course, stories, telling
Mm,
stories among the family.
mhm.
Mama always liked to do so and so and so. Oh, if that had happened, she'd find some humor in that. You know, we're being comfortable remembering and then expressing gratitude. I
Yeah.
can't tell you how powerful that is. Mhm.
Yeah. What about people who they may be far away from their family, and may not have support where they are, and maybe they can't maybe they don't have the funds to go visit their families right
Sure.
now, and
Oh,
they're feeling alone. What are some things that they can do?
sure. I would recommend they do a daily check-in when they
Mhm,
wake up in the morning. Of course, I always practice, and I know you do too, gratitude in the morning for your
mhm,
journey, for your life. Ask
mhm,
yourself, what am I feeling? What do I
mhm.
need to be doing? What are some small steps I can take today to remember and to honor this person whom I'm missing? And so I would say do a daily check in.
Mhm,
Self care, so important. Simple gestures like a short walk, listening to a favorite song, taking time to have a cup of tea or coffee or apple cider, listening to a favorite hymn or song. And I think one of the most powerful tools is writing, journaling. You could
mhm.
have a holiday journal where you literally just get up in the morning and reflect on where you're at and reflect on the journey that's got you there. And then, where do I want to go? Where am I at? How did I get here? And what am I anticipating, looking forward to going forward? Just some
Yeah.
things. Yeah. Yeah. Let me just drop this in too. Those things that you are familiar with that feed your spiritual life, I definitely recommend. For
Mm,
me, for example, 23rd Psalm is an anchor in my spiritual life. And if somebody's having a real difficult time, I would tell them, wake up in the morning and use it as your anchor. Just
mm,
read it and read it out loud. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And just
mm,
read that as a way of renewing yourself
Yeah.
particularly if you're by yourself, you're a long way away from home, if you're suffering loss. We talked about grieving, other facets. Just check in with yourself on a regular basis.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
You mentioned it in your book. You said there are times in life when grief and pain are at their peak. One has no idea about how to get back to their usual self and recover.
Yes.
How does one, like, who may necessarily be dealing with the grief of a loved one, but maybe dealing with the loss of a job or their economic wherewithal, and they are struggling to figure out, what do I do now?
Mhm. Mhm. What you mentioned is a reality, very much so, particularly in the way we live, because we can live isolated in silos and go through long periods of time. We don't have interaction like we normally would do in the past with neighbors sometimes.
Yeah.
Or if you're not connected, say, with a community, some people go to church, some people may go to the gym, some people go to a bar, some people, go to dance. They have these places, outlets. I would say to you, first of all, be honest with yourself. Take the time, do some honest self reflection. Call it self care. Sometimes people say, well, I'm disappointed where I'm at. Well, look
Mhm.
at how you got there and
Mm.
decisions that led you to that space where you're at. Are those decisions serving you well? Or do I need to make a shift? And it's okay to give yourself permission that you can grieve, but you can also move forward. You can
Mm.
take time and reflect in terms of where you're at. Simple things I know you're aware of, like breathing exercises that you can do. Micro breathing, box breathing, 4 in, hold for 4, breathe out. Simple things that are grounding you in terms of spiritually, in terms of who you are. Because we have all kind of different belief systems, but most of us have something that kind of grounds us. And I would say revisit those fundamental things that have held you and grounded you in seasons of change. And this is something I recommend everybody do. Remember and recall your successes.
Mm.
Okay. Remember and recall your successes. And if you have to, go back and revisit rain descriptions. Sometimes people say, well, I'm in a mid-career journey. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. But you went to school, you went to college, and you got this degree. Or you went to trade school and you accomplished this task. Or you went to the army and military and you were promoted to corporal. So pull up online and read, what does it take to do that? And to revisit all of
Mhm.
the things you had to do to get to that. And boy, I tell you, it will just empower your spirit.
Dr. Kimbrough, that is so good. That is so real. I think sometimes we forget about all the things we've accomplished and the things we've
Yes.
overcome in the past.
Yes.
And my therapist had me do that once. She's just like, write all the things that you've done, all the things that you've accomplished. And, I remind myself when I'm going through tough times that I've never not made it,
Yeah.
you know, maybe facing a difficult time right now. But when I look back over all the things I've been through, I've had tough times before and I've never not made it. And so just kind of looking at all of the stuff you've done, because I think sometimes we forget that, we're just so focused on the grief, the loss of the present day challenge that we forget, like, wait a minute, I've done some things.
Yes, yes. And when you do that, it humbles you because you're like, I can't believe I did all of this.
Yeah.
And if I'm capable of doing that, then I'm capable of facing this challenge, whatever it may be today,
Right.
okay,
Right.
and overcoming that the doors are not closed for me. And
Mhm.
like I said, we forget a lot. We
Yeah.
really do forget a lot. That's why I
Mhm.
encourage people to journal, because when you journal, and I'm guilty of this, I'll be trying to do something or praying about something, and it
Mhm.
happens, and I forgot that I prayed about that 3 months ago, or I forgot I asked for help with that,
Right. Right.
because it happens. You're like, oh, okay, you just move on. Well,
Yeah.
hey, take a moment, pause, and demonstrate some gratitude through that process.
Yeah.
Mm.
What can we do? We have a friend or family member that's going through loss or grief. How can we support them? What are some things we can do to be a support?
Sure. Great question. And I don't know if it's a phrase or not, but there's such a thing as a grief buddy, a
Mm,
friend, a support person. And that person, a person who regularly checks in with them. If you have a friend, a relative, maybe they're in California and you're in North Carolina and they're
mm,
by themselves, that regular call in the morning can make all the difference in the world.
mhm, mhm,
Checking in with them and then being willing to listen without judgment, to
mhm,
be to listen without judgment. Of course, if you're close enough, nothing substitutes for your presence. I call it the ministry of presence, to be present with them and to be present without an agenda. Your
mhm.
presence is healing.
Yeah.
To be that support person. And what it does say to all of us, and I want to say this to anyone who may be going through any type of grief, is you are not alone.
Mm,
Are not alone. And being that grief support person for somebody, and you don't have to have a degree, you don't have to have special training. Like I said, your presence, that reaching out, that call can make a difference. A note in well, we don't do a lot of mail. I still do a no mail every once in a while. In terms of a note in the mail, a
mhm,
text in the morning, a motivational text can be very inspiring.
mhm.
But that consistent support, I think, is key.
Yeah. What about therapy? I know a lot of times when we are people of faith, we think we just got to pray to God, read our Bible, and and that is it. And so sometimes we don't embrace the idea of seeking a therapist because we've kind of been taught and trained like all you need is God, and what are your
Right.
thoughts on seeking therapy if you're
Mhm.
dealing with grief?
First of all, I am glad we're at the point where the understanding of therapy is shifting in our community, particularly as it relates to mental and emotional health. So I believe, as a person of faith, that God uses multiple ways in terms of healing and restoration. I encourage people to go to therapy. I encourage it because it oftentimes is a person who, not often, is a person who's professionally trained, who's going to offer great support and give you some great guidance and oftentimes some rails to help you continue to move forward. And if you find yourself dealing with multiple concerns, I think it takes three concerns and then you're in a crisis, multiple concerns, then absolutely, I encourage you to find a therapist. Go to ZocDoc, find a therapist that relates to you and whom you can relate to and talk to on a regular basis, because that's going to help you to move forward. Now,
Mm,
the faith equation, I always said, the old prayer, serenity prayer, God, help me to accept the things I cannot change and give me the courage to change the things that I can. I believe we do all we can do. What we can't do, we entrust to God to do. And part of doing all we can do is seeking the help and the resources that are available to us in terms of not only physical health, but mental health, spiritual health, emotional health. You come see a person like me, you say, my soul is sick. Okay.
mm,
And I'm a spiritual advisor. You have somebody who's struggling with, I use mental challenges, not in the sense of a negative word, but just in terms of a mental, social, psycho, mental health.
mm,
Then you need to see somebody who can help walk you through that. And not in that negative context, because you're absolutely right. For so long, we have solved we have had that conversation, all of us, as and I know you have a broad audience, but people of the African diaspora, there is trauma in our community. It's a part of our collective journey. Okay. And it's almost possible to exist in this society without experiencing trauma. We bring some of it with us and we go through some of it ourselves. So I am 100%. I encourage people all the time, find a therapist who can help support you and can be a part of your healing team, a part of your healing team.
Yeah, that's good.
Mhm.
Dr. Kimbrough, like I mentioned at the top of the show that you lost your beloved wife
Mhm.
a few years ago now, right?
That's correct. Been 2.5 years.
What have you learned about grief through your own grieving process? I think a lot of times when people are grieving, they feel like there's no hope. Like I will never feel a sense of just being okay again. What have you learned through your own journey?
Everybody grieves differently. Uh, Everyone has a different timetable of grief. I've also learned that it takes time to reconstruct your world. And when you lose somebody who is that close to you, you have a worldview, you have a world vision. It takes time to go through the process and then to have the courage to live forward and
Mm,
know you are not disrespecting the person you lost or your love for that person. But as you go through that grief process, there'll come a day when you realize I have to live forward. And in that living
mm,
forward, we now begin to ask those fundamental questions. We mentioned them earlier. Who am I? Who am I now? I know who I was then, but who am I now? What's
mm,
important to me? What are my fundamental beliefs? What do I want for the future? And when you start asking those fundamental questions about life and your journey, it I'll be honest with you, it makes you more human and it makes you more understanding with other people and more patient because you realize in a greater sense what a great gift life truly is. And you want to
mm,
celebrate it. And I want to say this again, I say, give yourself grace and then allow yourself to experience joy again.
mm,
Grief comes in waves, almost like the ocean. It comes in waves. It's calm, and then a wave will come. It's calm, and then a wave will come. And instead of fighting the waves, you have to learn to ride the waves. There'll be some ups, some downs, and in time, the healing will take place.
mm. I love that. I love what you said about living forward, living forward. And in living forward, I think sometimes people feel guilty about moving forward, particularly like the loss of a spouse. Like, there's some guilt about my dishonoring them. So I think that's a real thing for some people going through, the whole grieving process. What would you say to someone who right now they are feeling just hopeless and they don't feel like things will ever get better? What would you say to them?
Mhm. I would say to them, shorten your vision. Don't look so far down the road. Slow down. Don't try to imagine what 3 years from now looks like.
Mm,
Slow down, back it up. And if you have to take it hour to hour, do not be afraid to give yourself some grace and experience all of the human emotions. Don't be afraid to laugh. If
mm,
something is humorous, something makes you smile, don't say, well, I'm grieving, so I can't laugh. I can't
mm,
enjoy this moment.
mhm.
You can be in the moment. You can enjoy it.
Yeah.
You can find harmony and peace in your daily walk. Don't get so concerned about tomorrow
Mhm.
that you miss what's happening today. And even when we're grieving, and I've talked with people who are very ill, people who are going through transitions or this great struggle, they have taught me how, even in that, to be thankful and joyful for the moments of life. And so I would say to them, one, remember you're not alone. I don't believe that you're alone.
Mhm.
God will send you some help.
Yeah.
Okay. And you will find people in your life that will come, and they may come from the strangest sources. Oftentimes we think this person should do this or this
Right.
person would do that. But it's just people you're like, wow, I wasn't expecting to have that kind of experience where it was just a moment of relief and just, I had a good time with that person.
Yeah.
It was fun,
Yeah.
and give yourself permission to do that without feeling guilty, without feeling you betrayed anybody or anything. Be in the moment, be
Mm.
in that day. Okay. Though that 3 years from now, it's going to take care of itself. Trust me. You
Mhm.
just stay on the journey.
Yeah. Just stay
Mhm.
on the journey. Well, Dr. Kimbrough, you have just really just dropped some gems for us really to help us navigate through what we all, at some point in life will experience loss and grief. Tell people how they can find you and tell folks how they can get your book, Love Beyond Loss. Where can they find you on social media?
Yeah. You can find me on social media at Casey Kimbrough, my name. You can put it in and I'll pop up all over the place. You can get the book in order directly and it'll come right to you. Just go to bookbaby.com and type in the book title, bookbaby.com, and type in the book title or my name and it'll just pop right up and you can get the book itself. I'm very proud of the book. It's an excellent tool and it's a combination of a very human story, my story, but also some very practical tools that can help you through the process.
Yeah.
Mm.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Kimbrough, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming and sharing with us today. Have an amazing holiday season, my friend.
Thank you, and likewise. And Harold, I just want to thank you for your constantly pouring in. I follow you online. I take your health tips. I apply them. I'm praying for more discipline every day, so I can what's that on a regular basis. But you're helping so many people, and I do listen to the podcast. I do follow you, and I've learned some great things from you. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you. Well, y'all go follow Dr. Kimbrough and make sure you pick up his book, Love Beyond Loss.